Hello, welcome to a little exploration with Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte is incredible. And she just told me, I hope you don't mind me saying, Charlotte, she got back from the gym like half an hour ago. I'm like, what? You literally look like you've just come off a catwalk. So Charlotte is amazing. Do you want to tell us who you are and what you do in the style of Cilla Black? You don't have to be Cilla Black. Every interview, actually.
My name's Charlotte. I'm from I'm Charlotte. I'm a success coach and soon to be a human design certified person. And I also work with something called positive intelligence. And my little thing is going to be bringing those two things together and helping people be successful, whatever that means to them.
Amazing. I love it. So do you want to tell us, to begin with, a little bit about your journey with human design, how you found it, all of those pieces? We really want to.
So it began a long time ago, about 5 years ago, and I looked at it and got my chart and read it and thought, that doesn't sound like me at all. So that was it. Just this is rubbish, don't believe in it. But it kept nudging me, and I kept getting pulled to it. And then the more I understood it, the less I understood it, which is like the weirdest thing. So the more I went down the rabbit hole, the more confused I got. And then, so I kept like dipping in and dipping out and dipping in and dipping out. And then I did a program a couple of years ago about just purely for generators, which was good. It was okay. It gave me a bit more of understanding. And so it's just been a really progressive exploration that I finally sort of came to a head last year, obviously when I joined the Sovereign Coach. I mean, I've been looking at your stuff. We were friends anyway, but I think I've been fine looking for somebody to explain it in a way that made sense. And I've said this week, is that human design is like, even though somebody else is speaking the same language, it's like it's a foreign language, and then all of a sudden you understand what they're saying. That's been my experience. That's how it's felt. It's felt like, I know you're speaking my language, but I don't understand what you mean. And that's how it was in the beginning. But now, obviously, and since working with you, that's been it's like, I get it. And so the more I got it, the more I lent into it. And then I think the more confident it's made me. I think it's not even, that would be the first thing. Like, I'm a 4-1, so my 1 energy, which is what I really didn't identify when I first read my human design chart, I was like, that's not me at all. Like, I'm fly by the seat of the pants, wing it girl. But the more I've embodied that, the easier life has got and the better I've felt. So that was the proof in the pudding. And, I have a very healthy skepticism about things. I don't just believe things automatically. And the reason I'm doing it, and the reason I chose to certify especially, was because of the changes it has made to me. And also, when I do readings, everyone's like, oh my God, that's so me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So that.
Love that. Okay, so let's go back to Sovereign Code. And you joined Sovereign Code last year, and I really do believe that we hear the things that we need to hear when we hear them, and they land for us. So we can hear the same thing over and over again, and it can land in different ways when it needs to. So the Sovereign Code, you stepped into it, became more connected with your human design. What you just said there was the changes it made in you led you to want to take that journey forward. So I'm really interested to explore the changes it made for you.
Okay, so first of all, I understood that it was, the way I describe it is like a layer cake. So I understood that because of my 1 energy, I have a thirst for sort of learning. So I sort of want to know all the things, but it really forced me to take 1 layer at a time. And so the first thing was obviously understanding what it means to be a generator, and looking how that had not played out in my life and how I'd not followed that. And every time I'd not followed what lit me up, how I'd come a cropper. And every time that I had, everything had worked out. So I was able to look, understanding that in its entirety, I was able to look back and go, that's why that didn't work. That's why that wasn't, not that it didn't work, but that's why I had to have that experience. That's why I had to have that experience. So now it's very much, life's very black and white to me now. So it's very simple. if it lights me up, I do it. If it doesn't, I don't, and that's it. And my husband's a generator too, so I'm able to go, does this light you up? No, don't do it then. And he's understanding it. It's quite handy having the same type as a partner.
It helps.
Yeah, really. So that was the first thing. The first change was understanding what that meant, understanding how simple that is when you get it, and trusting it.
Which is peace, right?
Yes.
The trust. Do you want to talk a little bit about the trust piece?
Oh my God. So that's been a real challenge, and it still is a challenge for me. Let's just not beat around the bush. But what I have come to realize is that when, you know, all the nuances of my design, but that everything that I've been through and everything that's happened and happening is all part of the process, and there's a comfort in that, and there's also a feeling of excitement, because I mean, I have a fundamental desire that, you know, your desires are divinely given, and especially because they won't light me up, so they're mine, they're already mine. So it's me understanding that my human experience is me just getting out of the way of that, and human design has been absolutely critical to me doing that, because what's conditioning and what isn't, when am I in my true self and not my not self, you know. So having those guiders and that knowledge has made the process more enjoyable.
Amazing. Because the thing is, human design, there's so much around the trust and the courage to step into it. So that experience in itself is very empowering.
Yes.
And absolutely plays into your journey of more confidence, I would imagine.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think the confidence piece is, so I'll give you a specific example. So with the one, which is process and order, and that's the way people see me, and that people see me as somebody who can help them find it, you know, and that's genuinely what lights me up, is helping people take quite complicated things and make them simple so they understand it. And so, but I didn't really own that about myself. I didn't see it. I just thought I was fly by the seat of pants, wing it girl. And when I found out, like, actually, I find the safety in preparation, and like, I just was too scared to prepare in case I failed. That was my conditioning. So now I do prepare. There's so much safety in it, which gives me confidence to then go do the thing. And I think that before, I didn't realize I was so conditioned to, and there was so much fear around, you know, stepping up and doing the things because of the, you know, who do you think you are piece.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so, which is related to my centers. So it's just knowing that, oh, you feel this way. This is your conditioning. Like, this is really common. This is really normal for your chart, for you to feel that way. So when you understand that it's not you, and that it's your outside conditioning, you can go, okay, well, I want to do this. Like, my soul wants to do this, so I'll go and do it, and I can push through a little bit easier. I'm not saying it's easy, but I find it easier to move forward with that knowledge, because I just go, okay, I understand why I'm this way. This is just conditioning. Does this light me up? Yes, that means it's meant for me, so let's go. So that's the sort of process.
It's a really interesting awareness around the difference between ease and easy, right? Yes. Even when you were saying that, and also this awareness of, okay, this is what is happening in my centers, this is what the world gave me, so you don't have to go, because you know what it's like in the entrepreneurial space. Everybody's got a new magic formula for, like, all of these different blocks, and okay, well, I've got to go down and do this, and I've got to do this. How did you find that empowered your process with your own embodiment by having more clarity?
Because I don't have to listen to anybody else's quick fix. Like, there is no. I actually wrote a post about this the other day. I am so over the instant gratification, quick fix. Like, it isn't a quick fix. Nothing is. Yeah. Like, I'm probably in a day 2 of a 75-day like body thing. And like everything's a process, it does take effort, but there is ease and there is flow, but there's still work. Like you still have to do the things. And I think that when you are really connected to your human design, you don't need anybody else's blueprint. You have one. And all you have to know is yours, and moving it. And it just helps you like cut out all the noise and just be like, actually, I don't need that. It saves you money as well, believe. because you're less likely to go, oh my God, I need that thing off that person. And it's funny because actually saying this as a coach probably isn't helping, but it's about helping people find the right thing for them or empowering people to know to make the right choices.
And it totally does help them as a coach, because when we're in this kind of marketing world and we're taught to sell in a certain way and all of these things, but actually having people empowered in their own decision making and knowing that you're the person for them at the right time creates a really beautiful relationship, instead of it being this, okay, it's not the right time, but I had FOMO, or I had this, or I had that, or totally different.
Yeah, and I'm not down for that. And I think from a business perspective, from my angle, it's really helped me to trust, there's that word again, it's really helped me to trust that the right people are going to be attracted to me for the right reasons, and that also I will also be enough in my integrity to not work with somebody who doesn't feel in alignment, because it's not good for me and it's not good for them. So it's that piece of knowing yourself so well that you trust that everybody that falls into your path is there for a reason, and that's usually a good thing. And sometimes
100%. No, it's always a good thing, always the evolution and the expansion. So in the context of the Sovereign Code, what was it that was in that space, or how I created that space, that enabled you to be really empowered in that experience and fall in love with your design?
It comes down to the way that popped in my head was like softness, like the way it was delivered, the way, the amount of information at the right pace, the right, it just felt supportive and intimate, and I had time to, and I'm not very good at asking questions. Like I'm not one of those people that's in there asking questions every 2 minutes, but because the questions were all asked in the space, I was able to listen to, oh, that was a good question, and then ask questions off the back of your answer. So it was almost like everybody was asking the questions that I needed to know that I didn't know I needed to ask. So in that context, it was really good. And it was just like, okay, now I know this, now I know this, now I know this, and it landed like a jigsaw, because for me before it was always, oh God, like I don't know what that means, and I don't know what that means. Whereas now I see it literally visually in my head as like this verse, this, then this, then this. And so as soon as I got that order in my head, I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
Like I knew I could understand it, and I knew what was important, and I knew what I could get to eventually.
Yeah.
So it's really helped me with my own, own embodiment, but also how I communicate that to other people now is just like, don't worry about that now. Let's just focus on this. And for me, there is now an order to it. And so the chart, when I look at it, in my head I see the things first that I need to see, and everything else. So I'm not, I don't look at it and go,
mind blown.
So yeah, that's how it's really helped. And obviously I went on to do things. So
yeah, so let's talk about that. So you did the Sovereign Code, connected with the magic of human design and your human sign, and then jumped feet first into the human design business certification. Do you want to talk a little bit about that process?
100%. Yeah, I mean, the best decision I've ever made. So smug. I feel so smug that I made that decision that quickly. And that was because I saw, and because I see a lot of people talking about human design, and I think that there's a lot of people talking about it who haven't spent the time to actually really embody their own design and look at it and understand it in a way. So I was really pleased that I did the Sovereign Code first, because it was like I needed to know it for me before I could start talking about it to other people. So that felt really good, like really integrity. And then when you said you were doing the certification, I was just like, oh my God, like, because I understood it didn't feel overwhelming. Like if I'd have not done the Sovereign Code and then you'd have just put a certification out, I'd have been like, oh no, I don't think I could do it, because it's been really confusing. But because I understood it, I was just like, and because of the way that you teach, and because of the way that you always feel into the pace of something and it always seems to be right, obviously. It was just like an absolute no-brainer. It was an absolute no-brainer. And I honestly, every week I say to Mark, I was like, God, I'm so glad I did this. Like, I'm so glad I did this.
I love that.
Like, I'm so smug. I'm just so smug. It's so good. And I was so excited about it. And I'm so buzzing about it. I can't wait to get it finished so I can.
Well, it was, I mean, that for you was an example of trusting, because I had very little detail at the time that you said, yes, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And then when all of the details came out, I just remember you sending me a message going, smug as fuck. And I'm like,
yeah, and that was a complete full body yes. Like, it wasn't, you know, and one with my design, obviously I'm a generator and I've got defined head, defined ajna, so sometimes that can be, there's it looks like a contradiction, but it isn't. So if I have that full body yes, sometimes my mind can get in the way, you know, it can start, you know, making it logical. But it was just like, the mind didn't even get involved. It was just like, I'm in. So it was like my mind just went quiet. Okay, it was like literally I was in. Yeah, it's been amazing.
Amazing. Okay, so any final words if anyone's sitting on the fence, what would you say to them?
I think if it feels like that you want to know more about human design and that you want to fully embody your human design, there is no better place to do it, with no better person to do it. And you will be supported beyond Shari always over delivers, always there for support. So it feels really intimate. It feels very, you're very cared for and understood. And she's really good at reflecting back to you because she knows your design so well. So there's no better place for you to do it. So if you want to learn more about human design, then do it.
Amazing. Thank you, lovely. And if people want to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
I'm just Charlotte Pridmore on everywhere.
Everywhere. Owned it.
Just everywhere. CharlottePridmore.com, website currently being done. So yeah, but CharlottePridmore.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much, gorgeous.
Pleasure. Mwah.